Hey everybody, welcome to Kingdom of Honor. I am your host, Zanman Shane Sabuti, along with my good buddy, the Honorable Jeff, and
Hello.
our co-host this week on my right is Savannah, sitting in the
Hi.
recliner back
And when you see what looks like a bowl come through my screen, it's my cat who just had surgery and has a cone on her head.
Oh, now I want to smoke a bowl. Damn. Okay.
Interesting. Interesting. So we are
So,
discussing what today? What the show that I had absolutely zero interest in because it was a terrible looking card.
because it was a mess, yeah. NXT Takeover in your house too, right?
I honestly don't know what it's called. I know it's in your house. Um, they did say a few things that kind of threw me off. It was it is cool with the in your house to hear Todd Pettengill again. I think that's the only thing he does is the in your houses, right?
I didn't see last year's in your house, so I haven't seen him in probably, I don't know, 20 years or so.
Yeah, but he's the host of In Your House. He does the opening and all that stuff.
Yeah, he did.
And it was fun. Yeah, I
I,
like
I, I wouldn't say it was cool to see him again. I never liked the first.
I it was just it was a well, I guess I can't even really say childhood because I was in my mid-20s when In Your House was around, but it was just it's kind of that cool nostalgia thing to hear him. So I enjoyed that. But this card, I only had two matches I had any interest in, and that triple threat or the not the triple threat, the six-man tag for all the belts, and it was just a cluster. But I've been following the LA Knight and Cameron Grimes story, and I really enjoyed that story leading up to it. So I had interest in that match, and of course the five-way, which again was a mess of booking to come into it. But I think they pulled that match off pretty well.
They did. That actually turned out to be a really, really good match with
Yeah,
a really cool ending to it. Um, for Cross to basically win um, because Kyle had so much faith in himself that he was going to get Adam to tap out before he passed out. That was a
right.
really cool finish to that match.
Yeah,
It kind of, even though there was five guys in the match, and the other two guys had kind of been taken out by that. So it kind of felt like the ending that we would have seen in one of the Styles Daniels Samoa Joe matches, right? So
right. And
it was a
it
lot of
was
fun.
nice that even though Kyle ate the loss, he looked like a man doing it by passing out instead of tapping.
By passing out, but also by the fact that he could have escaped at any time. He was
Right.
just trying. He was just trying to get Cole to tap out before he went out.
Right, exactly. But it's like I can't say that anybody came out of that match looking weak.
No.
At all. I loved the way they began it with everybody trying to take on Karrion Kross separately. And then when Adam Cole was in the ring, Pete Dunne pulls him out and traps him in the apron. And then they attack Adam Cole. All three of the other guys attack Adam Cole. I thought that was a fun spot and fun payback. The couple things that did annoy me about it is how much Adam Cole is supposed to be the biggest dastardly heel out of the five heels that are in the match. Well, I guess Kyle O'Reilly's not a heel, but he's the only one who's not. And the fans cheered for Adam Cole the loudest. And
Yeah, it's because
which
that's because Cole doesn't know how to be.
no, he does in the way that he cuts interviews and things like that. But he still hasn't figured out how to be a heel as a wrestler and
He
tell a
always
heel
play. He
story in the
always
ring.
plays to the crowd, and that's why
Yep.
he's never. That's why he's never a good heel.
He's a hell of a good
That's
heel.
what. That's why I said before he should stop doing the fucking Adam Cole baby.
Yeah, but the thing I do like about him is that he is a hell of a heel promo, but he can't figure out how to be a heel in the ring. That's why I think the fans cheer him as much as they do.
He's
I
always
can't.
going to be third. He's always going to be third rate Shawn Michaels to me, and Shawn Michaels is second rate AJ Styles. So it's
Fair
it's
enough. Which is
it's
funny
it's
since Sean came.
yeah. Sean what?
Sean came before AJ, but
Well, he did, but in the ring, people always
Yeah,
say that AJ Styles is second coming at Shawn Michaels, and I'm like, yeah, but he's like much better.
he,
You know,
yeah, he's a better in-ring performer than Sean, and Sean was one of the greatest of all time. I'm not taking anything away from him. That just shows how good AJ is.
right?
Um, the Cole, when they start his music and they just shout Cole, is so annoying. And the fact that he actually still has the boom in his entrance when it's not actually in the music, and they just have the crowd screaming it, is annoying as well. If they were going to do that, he should have just kept the UE theme music.
He should, or he should they just buy his old from ROH.
Yeah, yeah, they could have done that
That
too.
that really that really fit him. That music fit him to a T.
Yeah, it did. This just sounds like a generic track, um, with them screaming Cole at the beginning.
It does absolutely.
So, but I
Um,
mean, the match itself was fantastic. I really enjoyed the match.
I did too, and I thought that this is Cross reminded me a lot of like Brock Lesnar at last year's World.
Yep.
Where Lesnar like was the number one entrant, he kind of owned the ring, and that's what Cross was doing too. Like he would just be like, he just like kick somebody's ass, be like next, kick somebody's ass,
Yep.
be like next,
Yeah.
And it was just really great. The only thing I guess that, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, but I guess the only part of the match was I felt like Gargano did, you know,
I felt the same way. He wasn't a big part of the match. He was just kind of there to fill a spot. And that's not the Johnny that I like.
right. He was just here to fill a spot, and the way he's been booked in the last year or so has been as a goofy mid card character kind of. So
Right.
he's been anchoring the North American division. He really doesn't feel like he's at the spot right now where he should be challenging for the major championship.
No,
And
he's challenging on reputation is basically what
right,
it was.
exactly, a reputation and history. Yep. Not,
And I mean,
but not but not on the what have you done for me lately sense. He should be in that position.
on the last two takeovers, he had the match of the night. Um, so he still has the performance ability. His match with Kushida and then his match with Bronson Reed, both were just fantastic matches that stole the show. And we didn't get that Johnny in this. Like I said, he challenged for it on reputation alone. He really was not a big factor in the match, where on a takeover you expect Johnny to be a little more of a factor.
Absolutely, you do. And I just think he doesn't always fit well in multi-man matches. I mean, if you think about the war games he's been in, you think about, the like the multi-man tags, not the multi-man tags, but like the fatal four-way tag matches he's been in, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. He's never really found a way to fit himself well into those matches. I mean,
When he
he's always kind of he's much better in a regular tag match or just one-on-one where it's never something where he feels substantial in one of these multi-man matches.
he needs to be able to control the ring,
Yeah.
to tell his story, and when he can't fully control the ring, his story gets lost.
Yeah.
Which is no knock on him. He's an amazing storyteller when he's one-on-one. But once there's all these moving parts like this, I don't think it's his style just doesn't fit. Maybe. I guess maybe that's it, because he's so good at telling stories that he needs to build to a story, a lot like Bret Hart used to. And Shawn Michaels for that matter. They were so great at telling stories in the ring, but they needed time to build to those stories. And when they were in multi-man matches, it just didn't work as well.
Yeah, it feels like his offense should be better in a multi-man match, but he never really seems to know how to adhere himself to those stories in those matches.
Right, that's true. The only other match, and I don't know if you have any more on this one. I mean, it was just wonderful. The Johnny felt out of place. Adam Cole being the biggest face in the match was kind of a weird thing, but I mean, that's just the way he is. And I still don't like his music. I thought Kyle O'Reilly, looked strong in defeat. Karrion Kross is just a monster. So
and Pete Dunne is just great. I mean, Pete Dunne can do pretty much anything.
Pete Dunne is right up there as one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, because he fits every role. He's always good at what he does. He's always technically sound. He can work with anybody. He I really hope that someday he does get his due and he's the one that beats Karrion Kross.
I just wish he didn't always sound like he was asking a question.
What's that? I didn't hear
I just
that.
wish he did. I wish he didn't always sound like he's asking questions when he's cutting promos.
True. Very true.
That's just
Very
that's
true.
just the act.
The other match, the only other match I cared about was LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. You know, I've been following that story. I've been telling you how I've enjoyed the vignettes and the story. And I mean, a month or so ago, I was a little frustrated that it didn't seem like it was moving forward. Then all of a sudden it did. The story with LA Knight trying to convince Ted DiBiase to come to him, even though he's not a millionaire, and Cameron Grimes' is only reason to have him come to him is because he is a millionaire. I like the interaction between them leading up to this match. And this match was odd, but surprisingly well done.
Until the
reason,
ending.
yeah, the ending kind of irritated me because LA Knight took two big bumps in a row and got up from each of them. And then Cameron Grimes takes one big bump and that's over. It's all over. I think they should have taken those two big bumps before it out of there. Or spread them out a little bit more. But other than that, I thought the match itself was wonderful. I did really enjoy the fact, because when you think of a ladder match, what's the first thing you think of? The ladder is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
The ladder didn't even really become a weapon until the last 2-3 minutes of the match.
Yeah.
I mean, it was they told a wrestling story surrounded around ladders.
And that's very similar to the match that I love and a lot of people despise, which was when Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose did kind of the same thing. When they had their ladder match for the Universal, was it Universal title or the WWE title at the time? I can't remember. I think it was the WWE title. Yeah,
I think it was the WWE title.
I think it was too. And where the ladder was really not used as a weapon in that one, they just wrestled a wrestling match that had ladders.
Yep, and the ladders really became part of the story towards the end.
Yep.
Which I thought that was well done. You don't see that usually. They've got to get their big spots out of the way with the ladders within the first couple seconds of the match. But this time, I mean, it did follow the normal trope where LA Knight sets up this ladder, in between the guardrail and the ring, and damn well he's going to go be the one to hit it, and he did. But it took a long time. Like, it wasn't. He sets it up, then 2 minutes later, I mean, he set it up and it was like, almost 10 minutes later when he finally went through the ladder. Well, didn't go through it, but
right. They did a great job of hiding that it was, you just forget that it's there, and
Yep.
then and then until like he starts climbing, wait, that ladder's still set up there.
Yep.
Yeah. You just kind of knew what was coming next, but
yeah.
Yeah. But I have it kind of sucks for Cameron that he's been telling the story for the last 2 months, two and a half months, whatever it is.
Right.
And he's not the one that walks away with the $1 million championship. But at the same time, I think it fits LA Knight a lot more than it was in him.
The thing I like about it is this story turned Cameron Grimes' face, which is what Cameron Grimes needs to be. Because the fans are just behind him. They love his character and everything, and he's going to be good at chasing that belt.
Is it really going to be an official title though? There's never an official title with DiBiase.
I think it's just going to be an official title between these two.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the way I think, and I think eventually, and I don't know how well it'll work because, but I have a feeling that eventually this is going to turn into DiBiase kind of managing them both as a tag team. And the dynamic between those two, with Cameron Grimes being a face and LA Knight being a heel, I think would be kind of an interesting thing to see.
It would be. I do enjoy how the crowd is chanting to the moon for Cameron.
So. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Although I'm enjoying that now. In 2 months, we'll probably get it.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that the part that I really, really enjoyed was how he was obsessed with that gold ladder.
Yeah.
Like he could have easily grabbed a ladder from the side and won the match right there, but he had to have the gold ladder to do it. That was kind of fun too. And then Wade Barrett, how's he going to be able to lift it? Oh, it must not be solid gold. I'm like, come on. Did anybody really think it was going to be solid gold? It must be gold plated.
Yeah.
One
Crazy.
thing I will give a lot of credit to is, we complain about on AEW how someone shows up on the screen and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's undefeated on NXT Dark and we know nothing about his character or anything, and they try to explain it a little bit and fail miserably on the way to the ring. There was a couple of times where I gave a lot of credit to Beth Phoenix, because she was able to explain the stories leading up to the match during the match, so that by the time you got to the end of the match, you were all caught up, you knew everything that was going on, you understood what it was. And she did it in both the two matches that I watched. It was really impressive when she would just throw in this little nugget about the story and why it makes sense and why we should be cheering for this guy as opposed to that guy and so on. So I'll give her a lot of credit for that. She did that very, very well.
Yeah, I will say that this is the best I've heard NXT commentary in quite a while. And I watched the entire show. I know you only watched 2 minutes. I watched the entire show, and I thought the announcing was really well done. I really there was nothing I looked at. I mean, the GoPlay thing was kind of fun, but I mean, there's nothing I really looked at when like it took me. There's nothing that took me out of the matches like it has been doing in the last few months watching. So
You mean Vic used proper English throughout?
as far as I could tell, he did. So,
Well, the 2 matches I watched, he did too. So, and I think Beth Phoenix is starting to shine now more that she's not around Morrow.
you mentioned the 6-man tag, how it was a mess, the booking setting it up, and it's really weird to have a 6-man tag where it's for the for 2 separate sets of belts, right?
Right.
But I thought the match itself was really good.
Was it?
And
Maybe
and I thought that there were times where I was like, no, please, no, you can't have it. Look out, no Phantasma with us. But by the end of it, I was really satisfied with how the match came out.
I mean, I don't like Bronson Reed. I'm not a fan of his. I'm definitely not a fan of Legato. Any of those guys. I think they're the most boring luchadors in the history of the world. I have some mixed feelings for MSK, simply because I still remember them as the Rascals. And they do occasionally do rascally things, but they're too WWE now. They've kind of formed them into the WWE product, and I don't think they're as fun a tag team as they were.
I was getting really annoyed at the Rascals in Impact though too. I just the whole thing with them sitting in their clubhouse and stuff. That was just getting really old.
Callback.
And
It was That 70s show callback. It was fun when I saw it, but then again, I didn't watch it every week, and I'm sure it would have gotten old if I had.
Yeah, and I didn't watch that 70s show, so it probably
didn't you?
No.
Made a little more sense if you'd watched it, because during that
it might have made more
show,
sense, right? But I still would have been annoyed by it.
Yeah. That 70s show, they would do that every episode where they would sit in the basement, smoke pot. You'd have the pot smoke all around, and they'd kind of be discussing different things. Like each one of the characters would be asking questions of the others, and then the others would answer it with another question that meant nothing to do with what was originally talked about. So it was kind of a fun little homage there, but I guess I could see it if it was every single week, it getting pretty old.
I didn't like it because it took people that I wanted to invest in and made them into just goofy people that didn't seem like they cared about anything. Yeah. And if you don't care about anything, how much does it care about you? So,
but I mean, if you said it was a good match, I might go back and watch it.
The 2 women's matches, what's her name? Zia Lee, is that her name?
Yeah, Zia
versus
Martinez.
Mercedes Martinez, right? Yeah, I didn't really care much for that match. And then the women's title match, they spent the last year and a half making Raquel Gonzalez look like an unbeatable monster. She even won. She even won tag team matches basically by herself, where she would like fight out 2 or 3 people and destroy them. And now that she's won the championship, she needs Dakota Kai's help at every turn. I hate
Mm.
that I hate when they do that. We had talked about before how now that she's won the championship, she survived 2 moon over moonsaults to win, you know, or to win the championship. How was she supposed to? How was supposed to believe that she could be beat? And now we're supposed to believe that she needs Dakota Kai's help in every single match. Not only that, but Dakota Kai interferes like 5 times in the match, and then after the 5th time, that's when Shotzi Black. That's her big surprise return is after Dakota Kai's interfered 5 times. If she wanted her revenge that bad, why the fuck was she there at the start of the match to chase her off?
It's
It made
it's
no sense.
it's typical WWE heel champion booking. Every heel champion outside of Brock Lesnar um, has to have has to look incredibly weak once they're the champion. They can look like total badasses leading up to being champion, but once they're the champion, they have to look weak. They have to survive by interference, and that's just a typical WWE booking of heel champions. It's been that way for the last 15, 20 years. It's maddening, to be honest.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. You know, so so
And,
that so that's so you didn't miss anything in those 2 matches in my. You
no,
probably would have
I
just
and
been. You probably just been like, what the fuck? It's like I was.
I had no interest in it because I feel like they overdo the women's division on NXT anyway. I mean, you watch a normal 2 hour show and there's 3 women's matches and and a women's interview. And I enjoy the women's wrestling renaissance or whatever. I think there are some very, very talented people.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that they're overdoing it. Uh, and I think you mentioned that when we did our Wrestling Malaise show, which guys, if you get a chance, check out the channel. We've got a lot of wrestling shows up there. And we did discuss a little, what, about a month ago about how we're getting burnt out on current products
Yep.
and the reasons why. So go back and check that out. And of course, this one, if you liked it at any point, please do us a favor, hit the like button. We've got 3 shows that come out a week. This is our wrestling show, it comes out every Monday. We do a pop culture show where we discuss movies, and I believe the next movie that we're discussing is In the Heights, which is a musical. Ugh, that was released on HBO Max with their Warner Brother co-releases in theaters. And then we have our Shane's book addiction. Shane is addicted to books. Jeff doesn't read. So Shane explains to me the book, and I react as if I'm listening to it. But that comes out on Friday. So subscribe to the channel because we do have a lot of content, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss it. Otherwise, check out our Patreon, our archives back to 2014. We've been doing this show for a while. That's all up there. And you can listen to our archives and things that we've done throughout the years on patreon.com/Kingdom of Honor.
Absolutely. And we're going to be off for a week coming up. So we'll be back with you. You'll see our shows, like Jeff said, on Wednesday and Friday this week. Then we'll be off for a week, and we'll be back on the following Monday to talk about, I don't know, something about.
Well, we will have a Monday show that week that we're off.
Oh, that's
The
true. That's
Impact,
right. We're
because
talking about Impact against all odds.
yeah, later this week we're going to
Apologies.
record a show for Impact Against All Odds, and that'll be on Monday. But then we're going to take the rest of the week off. So the Wednesday we'll skip a Wednesday and Friday show, but those will be in. I mean, you can always go back and watch our previous pop culture breakdowns as well right here on YouTube.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll try to do better next time. This is Shane saying long days, pleasant nights, and Jeff saying
Goodbye.